In the coming month, I expect to be talking to you about a whole lot of issues, and I'll always be direct with you.
Up right now, Jeff Zeleny, our senior Washington correspondent, Jess McIntosh, former director of communications outreach for the Hillary Clinton campaign, and Maria Cardona, Democratic strategist. Okay, Jeff, so let me just hone in here for just a brief second on the last few words of that. Pretty clear that he's kind of saying, okay, now I've addressed this. I'm going to be talking about a lot of other issues because I'm running.
No doubt, and that confirms what we've been hearing from his aides and friends and donors, that he is undeterred by this, and he does indeed still on course to likely form his candidacy at the end of this month, or now we're told even maybe early May. So this is not going to change his plans to run for president, but I do think it changes a lot of other things. It makes clear today this is not the final word. And I talked to several of his advisors and friends of his again, and they said he wanted to, quote, reclaim his record and explain his humanity. That's what he was trying to do in that, but no question it's not the final word. This now will be part of the soundtrack of his campaign. It'll be brought up at debates and other things by maybe voters, maybe rival candidates, maybe all of the above.
All right, Jess, did he get the tone right, changing social norms?
I was really disappointed that he put it on to changing social norms. Paternal behavior towards women in a workplace setting has been making women uncomfortable for generations. The only social norm around that has changed is that men now listen to us when we say that out loud. That's the only social norm that's changed here. He didn't apologize. He didn't apologize to the women who he made uncomfortable. I thought that was really lacking, and it bothered me more because of, honestly, the way he's handled his role in the Anita Hill hearings, where he would say over and over again, I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have done something. He was in charge of those hearings. So he seems unwilling to take responsibility or discuss his own role in either of those cases. And I think that's what women are going to be waiting to hear from him.
I mean, Maria, there was no apology there. And again, he did say social norms have changed. And what he did was just about connecting with people. Let me just play those operative clips again.
I've always tried to make a human connection. I've never thought of politics as cold and antiseptic. I've always thought it about connecting with people. I always believe governing, quite frankly, life for that matter, is about connecting with people.
Physically, Maria?
Well, I think that's what he said in his video, that he understands he did wrong. I have a slightly different take than Jess. I do think that he struck the right tone in that he acknowledged, which he had not done before, that his behavior did make women uncomfortable. He put aside the, I did it innocently, I did it innocuously, which I do believe he did, and he focused on how his behavior and his interactions with women made them feel. I do think that he also tried to explain why he behaves that way. A lot of people who know him well know that he's very touchy-feely and that he doesn't mean anything malicious by it. But at the end of it, I also liked how he said, it is unthinkable that I would not be able to change my behavior, understanding moving forward what this means. And he said, I will. I thought it was very candid, very honest, and frankly, I think in true Joe Biden form. I don't think this is the end of it. I agree with Jeff. He's going to continue to get questions on it, and it will all depend on how he answers those. And it's going to be up to the voters and to the women what they think about that.
Okay, and so, Jeff, as you point out, you've got voters, you've got debates, you've got town halls. It's going to come up, okay. But one person you did not mention is this person.
Our former vice president, I was going to call him, I don't know him well, I was going to say, welcome to the world, Joe. You having a good time, Joe? I said, General, come here, give me a kiss. I felt like Joe Biden.
He loves it.
He loves it, and this is yet the latest example of the president trying to play in the Democratic primary. He has been waiting for this. He is doing this at any turn. That was last night. He'll be doing it again. The question is, of course, the behavior from President Trump should also be pointed out, but it did not cost him the election at all. The standards are always different. So when anyone, I guess it'll be interesting to see the former vice president's response to that. So far, anyone who has gone up against President Trump and gotten in the mud with him, if you will, has lost. Right. So we'll see how he responds to that. But President Trump wants to make this part of the issue. I'm not sure that he hurts the former vice president's case in this. He actually
On this
may make him a little bit
particular
more
issue.
sympathetic and remind him of the fact that, you know what Joe Biden did is like nothing at all compared to
that's right.
what the president was on tape doing, of course, not Access Hollywood tape.
Right. Of course, you never want to get in a game of comparing, though, on these things.
Right.
I mean, it's dicey, right? I mean, just here's the question. It is going to come down to, as Jeff is saying, though, whether voters care, whether women voters care, whether younger voters care.
Sure.
And we just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's very early, and this is certainly not, I think, the way that he would want to begin his presidential campaign. The reason why it matters, it's not just, oh, I find this behavior icky, I don't love it when older men do this to me in a workplace setting. If you're running for president, you are running to be responsible for our rights and our freedoms and in many cases, our bodies. You have to be able to hear women. You have to be able to hear the concerns and respond in a really meaningful way. So I'm hopeful that we're moving in that direction.
Now,
with
Maria,
him.
Jeff said that Biden is, we had heard by end of April, and now Jeff said it could be even early May, right? We just don't know. But I mean, I got to say, for someone who's so set on doing it, I mean, the guy has like gum on the bottom of his shoes. Okay, and the fundraising numbers came out for the first quarter today. Beto, 18 days, $9.4 million. Bernie Sanders, 18 million. Kamala Harris, 12 million. Pete Buttigieg, 7 million. How much is left for Joe Biden?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if he's going to do it, he's going to have to do it here pretty quickly because people are starting to solidify on who they like. Now, it's still very early. I understand that. But I do think that it's time. I think that maybe a lot of voters are starting to get impatient with him, and the fact that maybe he's waiting, believes that he can just jump in and immediately be the front runner, and perhaps that is the case. But I think they're going to be less patient with him moving forward. He's going to continue to get questions about this. And so again, we'll see. It's early. It's up to the voters.
And when he gets in, he's got to go all in, wall to wall, every single second.
That's right.
Whole host of questions there. Thank you. And next, which candidates are catching the attention of millennials?
Give me your three.
Probably Warren, Mayor Pete, and Bernie Sanders.
Plus, the White House unable to explain this unfounded claim about windmills made by Donald Trump.
They say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that one.